Hey everybody, it's Kira with Bookstaglamkira, and today I am going to attempt my first ever reading vlog video. Given that this is currently spring of 2025, I couldn't think of any more perfect books to focus the reading vlog on other than my girls, Abby, Emily, and Katherine. So with these, if these names do not sound familiar, they should, but so the first one, Abby Jimenez, had a recent new release come out April 1st. That is Say You'll Remember Me. This one is about I believe it's a male veterinarian that's pretty much near perfect, except for when he opens his mouth and it's not so perfect. And it sounds kind of like a enemies to lovers maybe. We will find out. The second one, Emily Henry, has a book coming out April 22nd. That is Great Big Beautiful Life. I don't remember a whole lot about the synopsis of the story other than we are reading about two writers, which Emily Henry has written about before. And I have loved both of those books, those being Beach Reads and Book Lovers. So I kind of have high hopes for this one. I hope I like this one too. And then lastly is Katherine Center. Her new book comes out in May 20th, I believe, and that's called The Love Haters. Again, I don't remember a lot about this one other than I think it's also an enemies to lovers. So we will get a good taste of that for this reading vlog, and we'll see how they compare not only to each other but to their past books. So take a trip with me. Let's see how this goes, and let me know, like, what are your favorite books of all of these authors? And I will report back soon. Thanks. Hey everybody, I wanted to give you a reading update on Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I am about halfway through the book. Right off the bat, at the beginning, I was had my doubts, a little bit struggling with the beginning of this book, mainly because the male main character, I know in the synopsis we are told right away that he's got a tough exterior, but along with that, he also he's very closed off and, doesn't show emotion. He's very guarded. And so with that being said, it's really hard to kind of tell if there's chemistry or if the two main characters are good for each other. So for me, it didn't quite read like a first encounter, there's the sparks, this is going to be a love story kind of thing. Also, when they decided to go on their first date, it felt abrupt to me. Now, I understand, you'll find out just based on what she had going on, they had to go on a date like the day that the ask was made. But again, it just felt like something was missing. And then all of a sudden it was like, boom, we're going on a date. So the beginning for me was a little off. But I have to say, now that I'm into the book, like I said, I'm about halfway, we know a lot more about these characters and we understand why he is the way he is. We get his backstory and it really makes you feel for him. So I'm in now. It just took a little bit with the beginning. And then also I just want to point out Abby's really kind and she puts a trigger warning section before you even start the book. So certainly check those out before you read this, but a big topic is dementia. I'm fully into that part right now. And so if dementia is a trigger, I just want to make sure that you're aware of that because it's not pretty. Dementia is definitely not to be taken lightly, especially in a family that's having to relearn their new normal. So more to come, but I'm definitely into this now. Like I said, the beginning was a little rough for me, but I'm really interested now and can't wait to update you. So more to come. Thanks. Hey everybody, I am checking in again, and I just finished Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I loved the ending. There, just all of it came full circle, every little aspect, again, without giving away any spoilers, just all the characters, everything that they had going, just came together beautifully. There was even a character that didn't make an appearance until the end of the book that there was a chapter about him and his interactions with Xavier, and that is when I fell in love with this book. It was just so beautiful, and just kind of the story, or the idea that, you know, you don't have to be you don't have to make everyone happy in your life, and you need to find you, and you don't need anyone else's approval. But at the same time, just having somebody that's a mentor that isn't necessarily blood relation can really make a huge impact in someone's life. And so when you read it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But that chapter just did it for me, and it just kept going from there, and everything was beautifully done. So I'm really struggling with a rating on this because I will be honest, I didn't love the beginning and kind of the middle, but again, that ending, the ending is like 10 stars. So more to come on my rating. Check out my review on Goodreads, but I don't know. I don't know how to rate this. I mean, a solid 4, but then that ending, I really want to give it more than that. So there's my thoughts. And next up, I'm going to read Love Haters by Katherine Center, and I'll give you my thoughts on that. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, I wanted to hop on with a quick reading blog update. I started reading the Love Haters by Katherine Center, and I was fortunate enough to receive an e-arc from the publisher, so I am reading via ebook. And I just hit the 50% point in the book today, and I don't really have a lot to say about an update. Mainly because it feels like it's just starting to get into it, and we're already halfway through. I personally don't really relate to the storyline. And again, with the synopsis, you're finding out that this woman, the female main character, is needing to put herself in a situation of basically lying about her skills and experience in order to save her job. And so she ends up taking a job that's covering this man that works for the Coast Guard. And I will say there are 2 male main characters, and again, this isn't a spoiler. It was said in the, sorry about the dog barking in the background. In the synopsis, it talks about how she works with a guy and ends up finding out that the person that they are planning on doing this piece about is actually his brother. So I will say the love interest piece of this book, I thought it was going to be the other brother. So anyway, just getting into half of the story now, and I don't know, the Coast Guard thing and her learning how to swim, like, I'm just not as connected as I have been with other books by Katherine Center. So this so far is definitely not in my top favorites of Katherine Center. But I'm still reading it, still interested to see what happens, and we'll go from there. I'll update you soon. Hey everybody, I wanted to hop on and give you an update on Love Haters by Katherine Center. I finished it last night, so just wanted to share my thoughts, and I have a lot of thoughts on this book. Unfortunately, they are not good thoughts. But before I get into that, I just want to say that I really enjoy Katherine Center's books. I think I determined that this was the 7th book of hers that I have read, and I don't think I've ever given her books anything below a 4. This one, however, is getting a 2.5. Hate to say it. Whenever I'm talking to book friends that are considering reading Katherine Center for the first time, what I say right off the bat is that she's a great author that focuses on typically a female main character that is in, she's a fierce, strong individual. Typically, she's in a male-dominated role, if it be a bodyguard or a firefighter or whatnot, and that she overcomes, and I just love that in a story. Well, given the synopsis, this didn't seem like anything different from her, because we're talking about Katie, who's the female main character, and she is a video producer, and she is getting thrown into a situation where she's learning a lot about the U.S. Coast Guard. So very male-dominated from that aspect. And so again, I went in expecting to love this, and oh gosh, where to start? So first of all, the character was not strong. The character in Katie was she was very influential. She was swayed easily by what people thought of her, what people said. If they wanted her to do something, she did it. She wasn't very independent. There's also topics of body dysmorphia that she was struggling with, and I just don't feel like it was addressed in the right way. It wasn't that Katherine Center could have definitely done a better job of that specific topic. So we have that, and then we have these other characters, which Cole, who is the one that she works with, I despise him. Yeah, I can't. And it's very apparent, and they point out that he's got some. He lies a lot, and he can't be trusted. He's an unlikable character, but it goes to the extreme. So did not care for him. The love story felt weird to me. It didn't feel like there was chemistry, felt like it was rushed. And then there were just, again, without giving any spoilers, there were situations that seemed implausible. I just truly could not. I realize that everything I read is a work of fiction, but I want logical sense in my fiction books, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Even if I'm reading a fantasy book, I need to understand why something is the way it is. And it didn't seem realistic, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so just a lot of things that did not feel like Katherine Center at all in this book, and it pains me. What did I like? There is a character that I absolutely loved, and I would have read a whole story about him, and he's not even human, and that would be the dog, George Bailey. I have heart eyes for that dog and loved the parts that he was in. I also found I was interested in learning a little bit about the U.S. Coast Guard, and that was fascinating to me. I felt like I had very basic knowledge and was kind of in the same boat as Katie, aside from not knowing how to swim, which I still don't understand that. But anyway, yeah, so that's where I'm at, and I am very sad to report that I'm giving this 2.5 stars. So no pressure, Emily Henry, but you need to knock this one out of the park. More to come. I will let you know when I get started on Great Big Beautiful Life. Hey everybody, I'm here with an update on Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I am at the 180 page mark out of a 400 page plus book. This is definitely a larger book than what we're used to seeing Emily Henry write. So just wanted to give you an update. There's a lot happening already. We've got two main characters. The female main character is named Alice, and the male main character is named Hayden. Both are writers that are competing basically to be selected to write a story for this kind of prestigious celebrity type of woman named Margaret Ives. Now, Margaret is older. I can't remember exactly how old she is, if she's in her late 70s or early 80s, but she has quite a history, not only with herself, but with her family members and her extended family. So this is kind of a big deal. Whoever the writer is that gets to write her book, it's expected to be a really big book that will come out. So that's kind of the storyline with what we're experiencing here. I did kindly have another book friend tell me that before I started reading, that she felt that it was more of an 80-20 split, where 80% of the book is focused more on the writing piece and the interview with Margaret Ives, and 20% of it being more of the rom-com, which we're used to seeing with Emily Henry. And so I think that's really important going in, because we as readers have grown to expect Emily Henry to write rom-coms. So she's definitely taking a different approach here. So important to know going in that it's not going to have the same feel as her past books. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was there is certainly some buzz in the book world about how this feels a lot like Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And I would agree, it certainly does. The writing piece and how they're both of the writers are interviewing Margaret Ives and kind of getting her story. It absolutely feels like that. Now, you know, TJR doesn't own that concept, and I think that there's enough of a difference there just with the side romance that's going on and the things outside of the interviewing. I'm hoping that it continues to be just different enough that we can appreciate the writing. Also, I wanted to talk about, in a lot of book discussion about this, it is being compared to thrillers and mystery. So far, I've got to say, I don't have any vibes of thriller at all. And there's this slight piece where I could see the mystery and I could see how that's going to transpire a little bit. So there is indeed a mystery, but definitely not a thriller. I'm not sure if that just kind of got misconstrued with the mystery piece. So that's a little bit of what's going on. The character-wise, I'm really enjoying the two writers. I especially like Alice and kind of her personality. It's almost hard to describe, where it's very positive and just she's always in a good mood, even with negative information being thrown at her. But at the same time, she almost uses that and makes others a bit uncomfortable, which I kind of like. I kind of think it's funny and enjoyable when reading. So for me, I really like her character, and Hayden, I don't have any arguments on him either. So yeah, we'll see what ends up transpiring. Right now, I don't think that it's going to be in my top favorite Emily Henry books, but I also don't feel like it's going to be in the bottom either. And I really have my book friends to thank for that. Just with knowing some of these specific things going in, I feel like I can appreciate it more and not be pulled away by all the differences and all of the ties to kind of feeling like TJR's writing. So more to come. I'm actually getting ready to go out of town and celebrate Independent Bookstore Weekend, and I'm hoping while I'm on the road that I'm going to get a lot of this read. So stay tuned and I will let you know how this ends up. Thanks. Hey everybody, I did it. I finally made it through this huge Emily Henry book, over 400 pages, great big beautiful life. I ended up enjoying it more than I thought I was going to. I will say, again, like I shared with the first half update, very similar to Evelyn Hugo from the interview standpoint, and I could have done without the extensive interview, but I don't know how she would have written it in a shortened version, because you do need to kind of understand that history in order to get to more of the present day. And so for me, I absolutely loved her rom-com part of her book. I mean, it's Emily Henry. She knows how to do rom-coms. But the interview, it got to where they were interviewing Margaret Ives, and like she has this extensive family tree. First of all, I almost needed a family tree visual, and I don't know if like a special edition comes with that, because that would have been helpful. Because you kind of get lost on who is whose uncle and great-great-grandfather. And so for me, I was really just trying to slog through those parts and getting then to more of the rom-coms, because it kept going back and forth between the interview and then Alice and Hayden. So it was about the middle of the book where I'm like, oh, I just don't want any more of this family tree. But then once you get to Margaret's story, and she, you know, becomes a part of the story, and her love life and her situation, I was really into it, and I really enjoyed it. And so and I enjoyed the ending, and I think I said this before, but I really did love the two main characters in this. So in the end, I think I'm gonna give this 4 stars. So as a recap, we had Abby Jimenez, Say You'll Remember Me. I ended up giving that 4 stars. Katherine Center's Love Haters, I did not care for that at all, and I gave it 2.5 stars. And then Emily Henry, 4 stars. It is interesting though, because Abby, even though I gave her 4 stars, that's one of my top books of hers. I don't really have a book that I don't like by her. But then with Emily Henry, I would say that in order for me, it would go Book Lovers, Beach Reads, and then maybe this book, possibly. So I would love to hear how your reading's going, if you've read these recently, what you thought. I've kind of been talking to my book friends as I was reading these, just to kind of see what they thought in the moment. So I'd love to get your thoughts and opinions on this, as well as kind of where you rank it if you have read others by these books or by these authors. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this ridiculously long reading vlog. I had so much fun making this, and I hope that I get to make another one soon. Happy reading!